This meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement in the Cape May Star and Wave on the Township website and posted on the bulletin boards of Township Hall.
All right, if we could please all rise, pledge allegiance in a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad.
Here.
Councilmember Perry.
Here.
Councilmember Roy.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sippel.
Here.
Mayor Simonson.
Here. All right. So first we have our work session. Project engineer Joe Maffei is going to talk to us about the Skellinger's Landing project. Joe, you can take it away, please.
Good evening, everybody. Basically, we were given the task of coming up with a concept plan. We all know how busy it gets down Skellinger's Landing. We got pedestrians, we got bicyclists, we've got the car traffic. So what we try to do is, we had a lot of plans. Bill had quite a few plans in the office from plans that have come in over the years, site plans and such, just to kind of get an idea what's going on. The main thing was to see how we could fit a sidewalk through here in order to make it a lot more accessible and safer for pedestrians. So what we end up coming up with was there is enough room on the east or the west side of the 109 to put a 5-foot wide sidewalk. In doing that, Bill and I went over this a couple of times. What we also incorporated were these bump outs, what we call traffic calming measures. One of the problems is people coming off the bridge, everyone's usually going too fast. So in each one of the intersections, what you do is just bump out the curb a little bit, it narrows a lane down, and it gives a couple benefits. One, now you can put a paver sidewalk in here so that people have safe access. In addition, where we've got a lot of the utility poles, rather than have to go through a whole utility pole relocation, we can work the bump outs into that. Saves time for construction, saves time for money, and even talking to Atlantic Electric, even though they would do it as part of their normal operating procedures because it is a pedestrian project, I think if we can eliminate having to do a whole lot of pole relocation, it makes the construction a lot quicker. Usually that's one of the biggest delays for construction. But overall, we'll have paver crosswalks at each one of the intersections. There's also going to be mid-block crosswalks. At the far end, coming over the canal, right now, DOT has an asphalt sidewalk. It just ends at the point there. Right now, we've got a little bit of a striping going across there. It's obviously faded. That'll be replaced with an actual paver sidewalk so that people know where to cross. And then that continues the sidewalk from that point all the way down to the bridge at Wilson. And of course, the other part of this was to come up with, I guess, an identification sign. If everyone's familiar with the Fisherman's Alley in Seattle City, they've got that huge sign over top of the street. That's kind of what we had in mind when we think about this. Obviously, that's not definitive. There's a lot of discussion that's going on with that. But it's kind of what we had in mind. And what it'll end up in is an overhead sign just as you're going over to the bridge in Cape May. You know, the wording, I'm sure that'll have to get worked out, whether it's Township visiting Cape May.
This is what it would look like.
Township, you know, whichever side of the bridge you're coming on.
There's no lighthouses, all right?
No lighthouses, no. I stayed away from that. I do better. But the main objective was to first make sure, is it actually possible to do this? I think the answer to that is yes. Going through here, we've taken several walks through here. Obviously, we need a full survey if we're actually going to move ahead and do construction. But from the information we're able to gather, it looks like this is definitely something that can be done and provide a 5-foot paver sidewalk from basically from the base of the bridge to the other base of the bridge. And I think it'll really work. And though the other crosswalk is also right across from the Antique Center, across to the Saltwater Cafe, again, right where the marina is, just to give people another place to cross the mid-block crosswalk. And if you notice in those areas, that's where we've got a bump out on both sides, so that the roadway itself narrows down to about 22 feet. And usually what that does for people driving, it gives them that physical view that things are tightening up, and usually, you know, a lot of people slow down. Oh, and speaking of that, we also are going to recommend a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit. So I think that's going to be a big thing. Right now it's 35, so obviously we'll have to petition DOT for that, but that would be a recommendation, particularly if we're going to encourage people to walk through here.
At this point in the design, it's all concrete pavers?
These are all concrete pavers, correct? And we did go through and kind of come up with kind of a preliminary cost based on it, and what we come up with was about $355,000. Now, the one wild card with the whole thing is obviously the sign. I was trying to get a hold of some of the people in Seattle to see what they had done. I believe that was built around 2012, 2013. I wasn't able to get any numbers from them, but that's probably the only wild card as far as construction costs, that you just can't put your finger on it yet because you don't even know what the sign's going to be. You know, a lot of what ifs with that. But we did figure that in the budget, and I think we figured on around $50,000 for that sign, just to kind of give you an idea. But the rest of it is striping, curbing, paver sidewalks, crosswalks, and of course miscellaneous signage, traffic control signs, things of that nature.
And the area where we tentatively located the sign is county property,
Correct.
instead of DOT property.
So you tell, I mean, this came,
I'm having trouble with the connection.
I guess so, what that's all about. How this all came about was a grant from, and that's why I know a lot of people probably don't know what that's about, but the Department of Transportation has a grant, and this is why we had talked to the businesses on Schellinger's Landing for some time about a marine community district, a marine district on Schellinger's Landing, and promoting it because it is so much, it's Lower Township, and a lot of people don't realize it's Lower Township. So we've pretty much come to the conclusion that the state's never going to fix the bottom of the bridge for the cars. So the next best thing is to do the sidewalks for people getting from business to business. And I know, in the past, the manager and I have met, and Councilman Roy's been on some of those meetings with Keith Lauderman, Dave Craig at Lucky Bones, Mike Weber, the Whale Watcher, all the different businesses there. And I know that, it's a part of our town that we can showcase, and if Department of Transportation is going to pay for it, that's even better. So we'll see how that goes with the grant, but it looks great. I mean, it's a vision that's been there for a long time. Hopefully it will come to fruition, I hope.
Yeah, again, the main concern was, can this actually be done? And based on what we've located, I believe this really can be. It physically can be accommodated here.
It's great. Anybody else have any?
No, but,
All right, appreciate it. I guess, can we leave those up for a little bit, or put them in the back if people want to see it? Appreciate that.
Back, or we'll leave them up front, or?
What do you think, Jim?
you can leave them there.
Leave them right there? All right. And feel free to, if you want to come up and look, you're not going
Joe, thanks.
to bother us. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. With that, we move down to consent agenda. Any questions from council on the consent agenda? I know it's a long one, and spent a lot of time going through this, so if anyone has any questions, speak now or forever hold your peace.
No questions.
None from council. All right, we open it up to the public for anything on the consent agenda only. Just please state your name and address for the record. I better put my glasses back on. Anybody, any questions on the consent agenda? No, there's a lot there.
Hi, I'm Tom Poussart, Shaman Avenue. Can I discuss the ordinance at the very bottom of the consent agenda, or is that not part of it?
No, if you wait 1 minute, when we get to that. Thank you.
Wait, there is one here.
There's one.
This one here, 18 he's asking about?
Oh, they're talking about the regular agenda.
Yeah, 18's on the consent agenda.
Discuss. 18? That's the one. Yeah, I'm sorry, I thought you meant on the regular agenda at the bottom.
Okay, so I wonder if you could explain the process of what happened at Roseanne recently, and why we're needing additional money here, and just to give us an update on, I heard all about this water going into Cox Hall Creek. If you can kind of give us an update on what's going on with that project, I'd appreciate it. That seems like it's being ignored.
Tom, specifically, is your question about the additional bonding for that?
Yes.
Okay, well,
Why did that come up?
Well, originally, the project was, we'll just call it Phase A. And as was designed by the engineering firm, what ended up when they did the testing for that, and Phase A did not come all the way to Bay Shore Road. It's about three blocks shy. And when they were doing the dewatering analysis, due to the contaminants that were in that whole section of North Cape May, we found out that we're not going to be able to take that water to start the project and just pump it into Coxhole Creek. Certain things were too high. So we were going to have to discharge that across Bay Shore Road behind Wawa, and from there, the MUA was going to have to take that and transport that to the county. And that was an enormous cost. So that's where the cost really changed from this project in A, and that's where the B part came in. We had no way until they did the testing of the waters, which they did 3 different times. At that point, we looked at Roseanne and decided, let's look at what it will take to take this all the way to Bay Shore Road, because quite frankly, properties on the other side of Bay Shore Road, that's the main ventricle that everything goes through going out to Coxhole Creek. So that's, this part you're looking at is to complete it to Bay Shore Road. And in the process, they're actually going to be filtering the water at a filtering station near the new pump houses at the end closest to Coxhole Creek. And the water will go there, but it's going to be treated by this engineering firm.
Is there chemicals in this water? Is there something that's contaminated?
There are chemicals in there now that are too high to discharge in there. But these chemicals that were going to be treated by the county will be now treated by, they're actually going to build a pseudo-portable purification system. And, I'll have to pass those tests before they can be discharged in there.
And we didn't know about that ahead of time before we started this project?
Nope.
And so that, this cost here is for that extension and this filtering system?
Well, it's for the extension, but it includes that factor, which was never a factor in the initial engineering. We just figured we could, before you dig up the whole length of that project, these pipes are big in there. Before you dig that up, you have to dewater the whole surrounding area there in North Cape May. It's millions of gallons of water. And that's another thing that was a problem with the MUA. They weren't physically able to move millions of gallons as quickly as was discussed at first, because it was just difficult, and that would slow the project down.
So that all the water going into Coxhole Creek will be filtered and someone will test it to make sure that there's no contaminants in it?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
The other thing I like to add,
I'd just like
Go ahead,
to
Dave.
clarify something. I believe Mr. Ridgway meant minerals. There's minerals, natural minerals that are in the earth, in the ground, and they exceed the DEP required limits to discharge them into Coxhole Creek. So that's why they're going to be filtered. It was either that or go through the MUA, and the contractor chose to filter. Everything will be filtered prior to it going into the creek.
and the other thing was, the original project didn't go all the way to Bay Shore, and some time ago, we all agreed that, I guess kind of like that internet commercial, we didn't want to do it half-fast, right?
Well,
So we wanted to do the whole thing right, and in order to do that, we needed, we thought that we should go all the way to Bay Shore, and that's what we're going to do, so.
I didn't see Mr. Schrey here because at our engineering firm, Mark Schrey is here. Mark, is there anything that you'd like to add to the comments concerning the dewatering?
No, I think you addressed it exactly how it is laid out. And I said, the bond tonight is for Phase 3, the extension of roughly 1,000 feet to get it to Bay Shore Road.
Tom, it's 1,000 additional feet.
Jim, you might have a new career when you're done here. Who knows? No, nice job. Seriously, nice job. I couldn't have said it. All right, we move down. I'm sorry, anybody else on the consent agenda? Seeing none, we close that portion and move down to the regular agenda.
Approval of the New Jersey State Firemen's Association membership application for Jay Sweeten, Irma Volunteer Fire Department. Approval of the minutes from August 6, 2018. Resolutions number 2018-258 through 2018-280, and ordinance number 2018-18, a bond ordinance providing for Phase 3 of the drainage and stormwater management improvements and associated road work to Roseanne Avenue and Bay Shore Estates by and in the Township of Lower in the County of Cape May, State of New Jersey, the Township, appropriating $3,900,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,900,000 bonds or notes to finance the cost thereof. This is the first reading of this ordinance. The second reading and public hearing of this ordinance has been scheduled for Wednesday, September 5th.
All right. Any questions?
Make a motion, we approve.
Let's do it.
Second?
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simonson?
Yes. Now,
Ordin-
go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead, now we hit the regular. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Ordinance number 2018-13. An ordinance amending Chapter 475, Parks and Recreation of the Code of the Township of Lower, adding Section 16 to Article 4, Fees and Reimbursements, in order to establish a memorial bench dedication program. This is the second reading and public hearing of this ordinance. This ordinance has been published, posted, and made available to the public.
All right. Any questions?
No.
No. We open it to the public. Any questions? None. We close the public portion. Get a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simonson?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2018-14. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 617, Trailers, Article 2, Trailer Regulations, Section 15 of the Code of the Township of Lower, to add a new section, 617-15G2, to regulate the use and occupancy of shipping containers in residential dwellings. This is the second reading and public hearing of this ordinance. This ordinance has been published, posted, and made available to the public.
All right. Any questions on ordinance 2018-14 from council? None?
No.
Any questions from the public or comments? Seeing none. Get a motion to approve.
I make a motion, we approve.
I'll second the motion.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simonson?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2018-15, an ordinance of the Township of Lower releasing, extinguishing, and vacating the public rights of a portion of Lucille Avenue. This is the second reading and public hearing of this ordinance. This ordinance has been published, posted, and made available to the public.
All right. Any questions, comments? None from council. Open it to the public. Seeing none, going to get a motion to approve ordinance 2018-16.
15.
15.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simonson?
Yes. Now, 2018-16.
Ordinance number 2018-16, an ordinance authorizing the Township of Lower to convey a deed of easement to the property owner of Block 369.01, Lot 1, in order to provide said owners access to the village road right-of-way in order to allow for the repair, reconstruction, and maintenance of the bulkhead located within the village road right-of-way. This is the second reading and public hearing of this ordinance. This ordinance has been published, posted, and made available to the public.
All right, council, anything?
No.
Open it to the public. Seeing none, I'll make a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simonson?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2018-17, an ordinance authorizing the Township of Lower to accept a deed of easement from the property owners of Block 369.01, Lot 1, in order to permit the Township of Lower to maintain, construct, and repair the dune and beach waterward to the existing bulkhead through a portion of Block 369.01, Lot 1. This is the second reading and public hearing of this ordinance. This ordinance has been published, posted, and made available to the public.
All right. Any questions or comments, council? None. Any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simonson?
Yes. Move down. Jim, do you want the engineer's report next? or you
Sure.
want- Mr. Stray?
Just, you want Mark to go first?
Yeah, you want,
Go ahead, Mark.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here to follow up a number of projects we're currently working on in the township. The first is the Roseanne Avenue project, which we've previously discussed. We are moving forward with that. The contractor has actually walked his permit up to the DEP a few weeks ago for the construction dewatering treatment. We continue to review shop drawings that are coming in for the project, and at this point in time, the contractor is still scheduled to work on the pump station site in October and follow up with roughly 3 months of pipelaying through February. The second project is the Phase 3 project. We have completed the field survey and maps for that. We have forwarded our plans to all of the utility companies to have them mark up their infrastructure on the plan so we can continue on with the design. We've also began the CAFRA permit application for Phase 3 and moving forward with the rest of the design documents for that project. The beach access improvements, we're currently waiting for approval from the homeowners, and as soon as we get that information from the township, we can move forward with our survey and preparation of the plans. And then the final project is the rec center restroom upgrades. We're actually scheduled to be on site tomorrow to survey the existing conditions at the rec center bathrooms and then proceed with the work of designing the modifications. And that is the projects I have at this point. Any questions?
Mr. Ridgway, do we have a deadline for the, for everyone to reply to?
It's Friday, for the additional people to sign off for the
Yeah,
easements.
for the easements, right.
This week, at the end of the week. We did certified mail and we delivered a few. We have a few, have returned them, and the ones that don't, we're going to proceed and apply for
The ones we have?
what we have.
Okay.
all right, thank you. Mr. Ridgway?
Gentlemen, last week, Councilman Conrad, as well as Bill Galestock, was supposed to meet on Thursday for a tour with the new commissioner of the DEP. That tour in Cape May County to look at aquaculture along the bayfront. And that tour was canceled, but it's rescheduled for this coming Friday instead of where they were originally going to start up at Bivalve, way up the road. They're actually starting the tour here, so anyone is invited, but it's going to be at the Rutgers Center on Delsey Drive, right there in Dias Creek. The meeting starts at 10 o'clock, and the new commissioner is Mrs. Colleen McCabe. And I reached out to some people in that industry concerning that previous, but Tom, we can talk about that also. Secondly, Mr. Caravan confirmed with me that he had spoken with the county, specifically Mr. Morey and Mr. Lindsay, about us getting together with our special tax assessor to discuss the promotional aspect of our opportunity zone, which we have a $50,000 matching grant. We want to go over some synchronicity here with the county of how we're going to promote the initiative to get more businesses to come to the airport. Along with that, Mr. Morey was sent a $100 million initiative that landed in the state. There has been financing forwarded for this project. So I'm looking forward to this meeting, and spoke with our tax assessor today about it, and we're in discussions about the tech village and how the assessments are going to come forward for tenants in the new tech village. And I'm excited that this is happening, and I think it could be some nice revenue for the township for years to come.
Unemployment.
Tonight, you passed to eradicate all the excessive debris that we've been forced to store this summer at the MUA. As you know, as you've seen pictures, the brush down there is too many football fields in size, and that project is now going to start in the next 2 weeks, and the folks are coming in tomorrow to sign insurance certifications to protect us as a township down there before they get started. There were 3 bids on that project that were sealed and open last Friday morning. And lastly, I will be getting council and the mayor new fob keys. Will have a whole new security entrance system to this building before Labor Day. And it'll allow us to do some things. The deputy mayor last year had expressed some concerns about tightening things here, and this will allow us, Margaret and her staff are being trained where we'll actually be able to generate a report of who opened what doors, at what time, on what day, et cetera, et cetera. In the event that there was a problem when we weren't here over the weekend, we'll be able to, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Conrad, you're up.
Tonight, going to keep it short. I've been going over a lot of things recently. The concert series has been great this year for those that have attended. I'm starting to get excited about this week's concert, Smashed. They sound like a great band. We've had great turnout. We got the new rec programs going on about music, and the bicycle club, and hopefully the computer program be going soon. And I've been going over so many things recently. Have the rest of your summer good, and you don't have to listen to me. All yours.
Are you sure?
No.
No, I have to echo the concert series down there at the ferry's been excellent. It's been a really good added venue for us here in Lower Township. The other thing that I do want to mention, the amount of kudos that I've gotten, not just me, but for the entire Township Council on the job that was done on Beach Drive. The vegetation is really starting to take now. It's really starting to hold. We're noticing that we're getting very little sand movement, even when we have the wind down there. So the vegetation planting is starting to take hold. We're going to add some more in the fall to keep the sand in place. I think not only do we have a beautiful project down there, but we also have a nice barrier from the Bay Area for any storms down there. So we've, I think, accomplished a safety project down there that is both great for the people and it's also great for the environment. So I want to thank the people for that. That's about it.
Nice.
I have no further comments.
Well, I guess I'll talk about the concert series too. But I want to touch on the last one, not this Wednesday. Which one? The 22nd?
Yeah.
Kevin Miller Smash?
Yep, that's for Tom.
Okay, that's this Wednesday. That's the band. And the August 29th, the Stella Mojo. But the important one to me is they're all important, but the one that's really important to me is the last one, next Wednesday. That's our fundraiser for all the children and youth program we have in Lower Township to assist kids of getting involved with some other activities than walking the streets. And I'll be meeting with the Recreation Department tomorrow. I'll go over some fine details with that. I know the manager of the PIO is going to advertise that well for us. We get the people out there, but I ask you for your support. Come out. We'll have all kind of food trucks there, and part of the proceeds will go back into this fund. It's a separate fund. It's not part of recreation. The Lower Township Optimist Club with the chaired by Gary Douglas in the back here helps with that program. So I thank him for his help with that. But again, I wish everybody come out there, bring a couple dollars with you, and spend some money and support our program. So that's all I have.
Very nice. Also, another program that's going to be starting up in October, and I will have more details at the next meeting. It spoke to Mitch Plenn, our supervisor of recreation today, is an activity program for youth ages 2 to 4 years old, and that's for parents in the township that have kids that aren't yet in the preschool program, to give them something to do, along with the other activities that Cape May City and Wildwood, our libraries, offer. We're going to also offer a morning, and I'll have further information for you. But that'll be a great program as well, especially for those that, always looking for things to do with your younger kids, the socialization, as well as some constructive and physical activity. I attended the Lenai Lenape treaty signing celebration yesterday, and I must say it's the nicest one they've had so far. It was at Les Ray's farm, which was a perfect setting for that. The Ray family, as they always do, pitched in, and the Lenai Lenape, they were able to camp there over the weekend. Saturday they did their traditional paddle in at Sunset Beach, and yesterday they had all kinds of music and dance and dressed up in traditional dress and vendors, and the atmosphere was great, especially on the farm there. It was very well attended. I felt it was better attended than when they had it at the ferry, but maybe because it was a more, I don't know, it was a more personal area. It was everybody was a little closer together, and it was great. So that was a job well done. We weren't sure how that was going to go off, but it was a success. Also, and Julie, I don't know if you have the additional that was in the email, but this Wednesday, the 22nd, we have a meeting for the Ocean Drive Bridge, an update on what they're doing with that project. Currently, they're doing a feasibility study.
Thursday at 2 and at 6.
Yeah, but aren't they having one Wednesday too?
That's for you guys.
That's just for us. Okay, so the Thursday one at 2 and 6 is an informational meeting on Thursday at 2 and at 6 right here in Town Hall. So if you want to find out more information on the study, that they're obviously in the process of coming up with a plan to revise and restructure the Ocean Drive, not just the drawbridge, but the other two bridges as well that go through our fishing community. So if you want more information on that, please stop in, especially the press media people. Other than that, that's all I have. So we close our portion and open up to the public. If you have anything to share with council, please just state your name and address for the record.
Hi, good evening. My name's Brianna Turner. I live at 915 Main Street in Irma, specifically Irma Park. I'm here to talk tonight about our concerns. It's about 7 streets from Holly Shore Campground to Wagon-Tail Pet Store. That is kind of an exclusive neighborhood that backs up to a privately owned farm. That farm backs up to the wildlife area, also known as Leopold's Pits. And we've been having several issues, and we're very concerned as a neighborhood regarding the drug activity that's happening in the privately owned farm that's not monitored. One owner lives not even in the country, and the other owner lives not in the county. So it has been vacant, and people are able to do what they want in there for over 5 years now. We have a ton of people riding bikes, walking through to get to the farm, to go back to the wildlife area. where they are living. We have blown up some pictures of their campsites, if you would like to see them. There's a ton of needles, heroin baggies. My biggest concern is that in 2 weeks, we have 30 kids in our neighborhood that are going to be standing and waiting at the bus stop. For the past 5 years, we've watched people come in and out of the farm, 8:30, 9:30 in the morning. The only people that have access to that farm are the people that live in the neighborhood, and these are not people that are paying taxes and have homes in the neighborhood. Our kids are backed up to this farm, every single bus stop, and it is extremely concerning to me that it continues to go on and on. We just had a death a couple weeks ago at the pits, and just last week we had a man with a machete come out of the farm with a female that he was with, and was just sitting on one of our neighbors, who happens to be my sister's porch, while her family pulled up. He was back in the farm. They were presumably on drugs, as they were not making sense. We are very concerned about it, and I want my concerns on paper and hopefully addressed. If anybody would like to see the pictures of the campsite.
I'm gonna grab the pictures from you, and I certainly am concerned about this. I received the call on Saturday, and this is what took place, but I don't know about the farm scenario, but I want to go there. I will go there tomorrow. I'll be happy before you leave tonight to find out if someone there can show me the accesses. I'm going to bring the police with me. But after I got the call on Saturday, I was told it was at Lee Port's Pits. So we sent a crew of police down the parkway on ATVs, and they went in there, and they also took pictures, scoured the whole site and area looking for anyone they could find. And we're going back Sunday. My chief I talked to this morning, I did not get the photos yet. There was his wife's family, there was a death, funeral arrangements today, but I'll be talking to him in the morning. But I would like to be seen with someone concerning the farm. I'll speak with my tax assessor. I'm going to find out who the owners are. We will locate them. We're also going to get code enforcement out there. They'll ride with me tomorrow, because obviously none of council wants this going on in Lower Township. With regards to the gentleman with the machete, I did investigate that case. He's currently housed in the county jail, and that was a domestic that had taken place. He's been charged with that, and I know he spent a night out there at that location because he admitted that in questioning. So, but like I said, I'm just 2 days into this, and they didn't give me that they saw anything else, but I don't know about the farm thing. I don't know if there's a way we can secure this. As far as out at the pits, the police, Lieutenant Vanneman said the area he was in was privately owned. So I really wanted to get in touch with that owner also to let them know that if we see anyone out there on that private property, that we could arrest them for trespassing.
We have been in touch with the owners. Not much is happening, so that's why we're asking for your support in that. The farm, I've lived in the neighborhood for 37 years. I now own my own house for the last 14 years, pay taxes there. It has never been to this so overgrown. 2 weeks ago, 2 huge tree branches fell in the middle of the street. Kids ride their bikes up and down this neighborhood. Nobody is taking care of it, and just like vacant properties, I'm hoping that the owner can be responsible for securing his property and making sure that it's a safe place for the people that live around it.
Well, I know where your mother's home is.
Mhm.
Is this near the entrance? Is the farm across the
At the
street
end of
there?
the street, yes.
I have the address. The paper address that you would have on your tax record is 873 Cressy Lane.
Could you repeat that?
873 Cressy Lane.
Cressy Lane.
Now, that goes straight back to the pits, but the entrance that we're talking about, I'm Nancy Flynn at 936 Myrna Road, is on Idell Street at Honeysuckle. And it's just an open entrance. It's been there, Mr.
I know,
Farm, then Matera's owned it, and these people, it's Atlantic Gardens Vineyard. And he started to build he was gonna have a winery, everything was well and good, but it's been vacant for about 7 years now, and it's just there's open trailers back there, there's an open shed, there's people living, it's become a dump, people are dumping.
We've had people pulling campers back there that are just setting up camp.
They wanted to know where they could camp, and we said, this is.
Could someone meet me out there near your house at 11 a.m. tomorrow?
Definitely.
We'll be there.
We'll all be there.
Jim, I did,
This is in your neighborhood, it's not good.
I understand.
I did obtain a number from one of the owners, but I know that. Also, our police department does, they have a couple officers that are trained on ATVs, all-terrain vehicles, and they're going to be using them to patrol back there as well. So we'll put that to good use back there.
I'm aware that the man who died in the pits back there, that's state property, the pits.
Mhm.
They're entering to go back there through this dirt path, which is a school bus stop. I have 9 grandchildren in the neighborhood. I do 4 bus stops in the morning and 4 pickups in the afternoon, right at that entrance to the pit. And people are just coming and going.
And I do want to say that right outside of the entrance of the pits, the cops have been there several times. It is a suspected house that is dealing drugs. And again, with the bus stops being right there, and it's making it almost like a Wawa for the people that are in the farm, that we see all the used needles and the baggies there, because all they have to do is walk 50 feet out of the farm to the house and walk back in, and the cops have been there several times.
Well, the
You
other.
say there is an owner that you have spoken with an owner?
Yes, I have a phone number, yes.
I'll get all that.
Like 2 weeks ago, when the gentleman died, he was in Germany. And this weekend, told me he was sending someone down to clean up, but nothing happened.
All right.
We also, when I spoke to Jim Saturday about this, we brought it to the chief's attention. Also, some of that land is state-owned, so he's going to get in contact with the state police as well, and we're going to see. I don't know if we even can do it, but we're going to see if we can get some sort of permission from the state to patrol that with our own police department, since we have the ATVs and the officers trained to use them. So, all right, thank you. Thanks. Great pictures too, by the way.
Good.
Anyone else? Yes.
Hi, my name is Mike Modis from 218 Spruce Avenue in the Villas. And then we've had a problem with the storm waters on Spruce Avenue, which is not that necessarily, the street's not the problem, it's when the street floods, it floods our backyards. When the water runs through the storm sewers, it backs up into the backyards, and I've had at least 8 inches of water in my garage at times from the storm water. On the April 3rd, I sent pictures in the email to Township, reference to the Mr. Ridgway, and my wife came up and spoke with the secretary, and she contacted Public Works. It sent a couple guys out, and then they looked around, and nice gentlemen, and we showed them what the problem was, and since then, they were supposed to put cameras down in the storm sewers to see where the pipes went, why the water was coming up in the backyards. I haven't heard yet what if there was anything from that. And when the street floods, like I said, it comes up in our yards, and I took some pictures of the water coming up through the grates. We've been there for 10 years and haven't had an issue with as bad. And when the real heavy rains come, everything floods, and we know that. The street goes down in a couple hours, but the backyards stay up for, maybe sometimes a couple days. There's big puddles back there.
And it involves 6 homeowners.
Yeah, there's the whole rear of our yards is a easement, and there's a pipe back there. And all the yards flood. Everybody has the same issue. And we sent more pictures on the 6th, or June 13th, and I haven't heard about that. But I have, when we got there was an outfall pipe for that pipe at the bay. And what I see, that outfall pipe is all sanded over. And I know the township redid a lot of outfall pipes along the bay. That one wasn't done. The one up north of that was done. The one there is sanded over, and it doesn't drain. So
Whether that's an issue that can be, dug out and that repaired, I don't know if that'll take away the problem, but as it is now, every time it rains, we get the flood. And mosquitoes are carrying us away. So, I have pictures of the water coming out of the storm drains in the backyards.
Can I have a phone number for you, sir?
Yeah.
You have it? You good?
Yeah.
I know Public Works has been there, but I don't know the latest, so I will get into that also this week.
Well, also, Public Works told me the end of June that they would be out within 2 weeks of the day that I talked to them on the phone. I believe it was in August. And that was the end of June, and they still have not come out. And that's just not reasonable.
I'm assuming that the outfall pipe is the problem, because we didn't have the problem before that, but I'm not an engineer, I don't know, but I haven't heard whether the pipes are connected. But there's a reason why, when the guys come out and clean the storm drains, you can watch the water just come up out of the storm drains in the backyard, it just comes right out of the ground, so something's finding its own level, and it's not.
I haven't been out there. I don't know who did come out from Public Works, but the director is here. Could you comment on this?
Yeah, what we're doing, we're still investigating. So when he says it's flooding the yards, there is a drainage easement between Evergreen and Spruce in these backyards. So it's not like all the water's running off the street and flooding the backyard. There's a natural drainage easement back there that was piped in so many years ago. So we did go out on Spruce and made sure that the storm drain on Spruce, which ties into that, which in turn ties into the outfall on Spruce, that is in working order. So it does bypass somewhat there. There are some of the manholes or basins in that area that this gentleman's talking about that they're higher than the ground at this point because the ground has settled. And the water table is extremely high this year, so it is taking time for that to settle in and drain through the soil, which it hasn't been in past years. So we are working on it. We have been out there. We have cleaned out that bypass pipe. What we're trying to investigate now, the storm, the outfall that you're talking about that went straight out, to our knowledge, it was tied in at the time that the Spruce Avenue outfall was put in. It came down Beach Avenue and tied in.
Probably was.
So we're
And that may
trying
be
to
why it's coming back,
investigate
but
that.
when
So
we
are
first
working.
got there, the pipe was open, and water would run out of that pipe. Now it's sanded over, so nothing comes out of it now.
Gary, can you get out there in the next couple of days and come?
I mean, I don't like to say the next couple of days. We will, communicate. But we do have, a heavy schedule, and so I don't know if it fits into the next 2 days, but I will be out
Yeah,
myself.
and I don't know, there may be a machine to clean it out and see if that works. Maybe.
We have cleaned out that bypass there.
No, I mean at the bay, where it's sanded in at the bay. You can see this wood sticking up, but the pipe is covered.
We can check into that. I mean, we don't have a machine that can go out there and unplug from the bay in. It would be digging out with a backhoe, and I'm not even sure we can do that if it's in the dune area, so. But I'll go over that with our engineering firm, and we'll act quickly on this.
Okay.
And try to get a solution.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Sir, in the back with that, I know you were on your way up.
Bill.
Bill, is that who it is? I could
Yep.
s-
Hi, Bill Greenfield, Villas. When I first heard about the Skellinger's Landing project, I thought that was a traffic project that was going to alleviate the traffic problems like coming out of Lobster House. And
Totally
that-
different project.
We wish,
Is it
we wish.
separate?
This is totally different. Yes,
So there's another Skellinger's Landing project?
yes, that isn't a Skellinger Landing project. That's a traffic project that the DOT did themselves when they identified the dangers of those crossovers at the bottom of the bridge.
Right.
And they had come up with certain remedies, but that hasn't sprung into action. That's a state
Is that something?
project is,
That's
no,
something-
this is totally different. This is a project to allow
Right.
pedestrians to walk from the bottom of that bridge to the bridge at the other end safely, and we weren't sure if we could do that because there aren't sidewalks on the side there. It's heavily traversed. We have a lot of businesses there, and, yeah, it's not the same thing.
The other project is going to be done at some point?
Well, once again, with the state, yes, they recognize it, they brought it to us, but that's not something that we are funding at this time.
Wouldn't it make more sense to let them complete that project first before you do the sidewalks in case?
Can you tell me when the state's going to do
In case
anything?
you're
Bill,
handcuffing them?
actually, I think it's helping us
Right.
a lot with our project, that they know the seriousness there, because we've had very good cooperation thus far with the Atlantic City Electric Company due to the fact that that's not our road there.
Right. No,
We're not fixing a road. Those aren't our roads.
I'm just concerned that you could put the sidewalk in, then what the state wants to do, they could end up, well, we got
Well-
to take some of that out.
Well, actually,
You know, with what they're going to do.
The whole reason this whole Skellinger's Landing came about is
Right.
because the department, the state put out a grant and the deadline's coming up, which is
Okay.
why we had Joe
Oh,
here
yeah, I'm all
tonight.
for the sidewalks, I'm just thinking,
But it's
They
their,
should
so
do
that's
the
what
road
brought
part.
that project, was there's a grant available that has a deadline that we can get money to do that project. That's why we're through the state. So if we wait on that other project, it could be another 10 years, who knows?
okay, yeah, because that is bad down there by the lot.
Absolutely, it's always
I mean,
been,
that's-
yeah.
I mean, whether it's, and I'd hate to see that, whether it's a question of putting a light in down there, or you come out of the Lobster House there, and
We're not
you're
for,
heading towards 109, well, you're not supposed to turn left, but at least half the cars turn left to go to Cape May, and I'm just thinking if they could just maybe reconfigure that where you funnel everybody to the right, then they either go over the bridge or around under the
Oh,
bridge
yeah.
back to Cape May like they're supposed to. I was just concerned that if you have a traffic project too, and you have the sidewalk in, you could
they haven't started the traffic project, Bill.
Oh, they haven't? Okay.
No.
So it's
And
two separate things then?
two separate,
All right.
and I have plans here, just the same thing for a project, for this dune project from North Wildwood to Hereford Inlet through Diamond Beach. I received plans this afternoon for this, and this has been ongoing for 4 or 5 years.
Because that's
and
why I thought the presentation tonight was going to be on traffic.
No, we're
didn't
we're
realize
looking
it's-
to get this
Okay.
going in 19.
Okay.
This could be 2022 or 23.
Okay,
So-
thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? So,
Good evening, everyone. My name's Emmett Vandergrift from Dennis Township. As you may recall, I was here several weeks ago. I'm representative of Evergreen Curative LLC. I was here asking the township if they would approve of my company bringing a medicinal alternative treatment facility to Lower Township. I will say that as of November 1st this year, New Jersey will be awarding 2 licenses for facilities to be located somewhere in the southern region. So it's something that's going to be happening. When my company first started, we were really looking to improve this community, and we thought that Lower Township could benefit the most from this. So what we're doing is, we're asking you to help us, help this township. As I mentioned before, in hosting an alternative treatment facility, we're going to be bringing up to 160 full-time jobs with benefits. We're going to be partnering with community outreach organizations which serve disadvantaged members of the community. We're going to be utilizing all local vendors, contractors, professionals, businesses, and suppliers for any construction, maintenance, and continual operation of all and any of our facilities. We're going to be organizing community service days for employees, which are mandatory for the executive staff as well. Aside from that, we're going to be hosting charitable events, as well as educational seminars, such as monthly informative sessions, which would regard the process of how to conceal and expunge records so that more individuals are able to get more higher level jobs in the area. We're also going to be doing in-store donation drives. And really just to kind of start off, I mean, aside from all of this, we're going to be contributing roughly about 3% of gross revenue back to the host community, as well as offer up to $15,000 in an annual charitable donation, which could go towards municipal projects such as the Aquatic Center, road construction, youth programs, drug abuse programs, and seminars. So the deadline, we need this letter by the 31st. If we can't get it by the 31st, it definitely limits the chance of obtaining a license. And we really are working extremely hard right now to bring something like this, because more importantly than anything, it's the patients in this area that need access to a facility like this. As I mentioned before, right now, current patients are driving anywhere from 45 minutes to 2 hours just to get alternative treatment. And quite frankly, that's not only unfair, but unjust. So with that, I'll just, I'll leave it. And if you have any questions, I can answer. Anyone?
Thank you. I would just say that we are in a situation where, we have to follow due process as government, and the timeline and the deadline is we have to be very careful how we discuss these things, because we could break laws like the Sunshine Law and things like that, and our solicitor will guide us in discussing it in closed session, and then I guess we'll take it from there, right? I mean, makes sense.
And again, we're right now, we're not looking for the approval of just one site. It's just the municipality's approval that we could come in here and locate a site. And as I mentioned, we were looking to utilize, if possible, one of the industrial zones in the airport, which by far meet the state's standards of setbacks from 1,000 feet from any, religious building, temple, anywhere where children would gather or congregate, schools, daycares. It well meets that and far exceeds it, as well as right near a police station, which could very easily monitor the entire facility, aside from our already highly professional security staff that we have contracted for the application. So
you are looking for a letter from the governing body which says that the municipality would be receptive to such a facility,
yes,
not committing to the particular plan.
Yes.
That
that would be later approved by the zoning and the land use board and so forth, to which we have 90 days to obtain that permission.
Yeah, because the other side of that is that we don't own.
Absolutely.
That's up to the county or the DRBA, depending on where that is. That what you were going to say? Yeah. All right, but thank you. That's good information.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
I mean, I'm sure if anybody here has any questions, can they see you in the back afterwards? Sure. All right. Anyone else? Seeing none, we close the public portion.
Resolution number 2018-281, a resolution providing for a meeting not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12. This is to discuss attorney-client privileged and possible litigation.
All right, can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Mayor Simonson?
Yes.